Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 20th of June and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, let's start with the video. In the today's video, we are going to discuss entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper, all the articles along with the background and way forward we are going to see. Now, I would also like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this entire session from our Telegram channel. Link for the Telegram channel is given in description box in YouTube. Now, first of all, let's see overview of newspaper so that you can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. So, first of all, here we have the article High Court admits review plea by Methi body on scheduled tribe status. So, basically guys, we have seen that in Manipur there is crisis going on for more than a month. Fine, and this issue began because the Methi community demanded the scheduled tribe status, which was earlier agreed by the Manipur High Court also. Then there were these clashes that had happened. So this is going on. However, again, it is not important that you track this article every day. No need to go too much in detail. Punjab steps in to help Karnataka with its free rice scheme. So basically, guys, we have seen article yesterday also where we have seen that the open market sales scheme has been amended recently by the central government. So under the open market sales scheme, the state governments can buy the food grains such as rice from the Food Corporation of India. Okay. Now the limits they have been increased. Okay, so now they cannot buy that much amount of food. Now recently Karnataka government has promised that they will be giving more food supplies to the people. So earlier under the National Food Security Act 5 kg food grain per person was given, but now Karnataka is proposing to give 10 kg per person, so they need more rice, and here the Punjab will be helping. So it has been said that it help will be from the federal spirit that would be coming. So you can use this particular example also. Then further moving on, after that we have these advertisements etc, not important. Then in the city section we have the regional issues again that has come. So nothing much important is there in this article. However, here we have one important article. Archaeologists find Mesolithic era rock painting. We'll see this particular article for the examination. Then further moving on, we come to editorial page. Now on editorial page, the first article, Rising India involves dance steps with the US. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination, grassroots piece. So basically the local body elections and the political violence that is going on. Fine. Then the safety first. Now this article talks about the recent instance where some of the people had faced adverse effects because of the Indian manufactured anesthetic drug that was given to them. So we'll see this particular article with respect to the exam, that how we as being the where we are proposing India to be the pharmacy to the world, we have to take certain responsible steps and such things should not happen in the future. So we'll take this article for the exam. Then further moving on, in coming to opinion page, a summit with substance, we'll see this particular article with respect to the exam. Then a change of name for votes, BJP Shiv Sena Alliance hopes to woo the OBC by renaming places. Not important article, just the political substance has been given here, so no need to go too much in detail in this article. Then is non-English language Wikipedia, Urdu, Hindi, Tamil lead. Okay, again guys, not really required to go and track the data that has been given here. Then coming to the text and context, decoding the Adani report. So we have seen that a couple of months back, around the March, what happened, there was a Hindenburg short seller which said that Adanis have involved into the stock pricing manipulation, accounting manipulation, and after that Supreme Court constituted the committee, the commission of certain committees. Okay, now in this particular direction the expert committee was constituted. Now the basically till now whatever the things they have taken up, their details are being given. For example, table 1, it shows the 13 overseas entities that are being investigated by SEBI with respect to the Adani group, their names. Okay, then the valuation, all these things are there. For examination, the article doesn't contains any substance. So guys, I will not advise you to go in this article. Please avoid it. Then further moving on, here abstract article. So basically guys, the phonos on the chopping block are sound particles quantum 2. So basically guys, see, understand this. When we talk about the photons, what photons are? Photons are the packets of light energy. Okay, photons are the packets of light energy, and then there are the phonos. phonos are the packets of vibrational energy. Okay, phonos are the packets of the vibrational energy. So basically guys, we have seen that in quantum computing qubits are used. So now it is being seen that whether the phonos, they can be used in the computing or not. Can we build the quantum computers where the information unit could be of sound, informational unit could be of sound, that is the phonos. So this question is perplexing the scientist, and in this particular direction a research paper was also published recently in the journal Science. Okay, now further moving on guys in this particular direction, so all the details of that research paper that was published has been given. Clear? uh, then further moving on in this particular direction, Modi Biden to discuss every issue relevant to India US. Okay, so we have seen that Prime Minister of India is visiting the US, where he will be leading the celebrations in the United Nations also on the World Yoga Day. Largely this particular visit will be centering on the defense and technological collaboration, defense and technology. However guys, excuse me, sorry. Now this particular article is actually talking about what things will be discussed. Now already we have taken 2-3 articles on this particular line if you are following regularly. However, no need to track it now. As the discussion will happen between India and US, then we will see that what actual takeaways, agreements they have finalized in this particular line. Then further moving on in this direction, India gives INS Kripan to Vietnam. We'll see this article briefly. Then president rule is the last option in Manipur. Government will wait and watch. So this is because of the crisis that is going on, and it has been said that um, the situation in Manipur has become so dire that we should impose the president rule. Fine. So this is what has come here. Then Uniform Civil Code, part of DPSP or part of Directive Principle of State Policy, says Rajnath Singh. Now, you being the UPSC aspirant already know this thing that yes, it is a DPSP contained into the Article 44. So guys, from the past few days, there are the issues of UCC that are going on in the news. We have taken this article also in detail because recently Law Commission has given an advice that asks the people of India whether the Uniform Civil Code should be applied. Then moving on further, Ladakh leaders meet, Union Minister demands statehood. So basically guys, this demand is going on, and the people of the Ladakh from the past many days, they are demanding that they should be given the status of a separate state. Statehood should be given, and even the demands were there that the Ladakh should also be included into the 6th schedule. They say this thing that till the Article 377, till the Article 370 was there, till the Article 370 was there, fine, the autonomy of the people was protected, but now as it has been scrapped, they need more protection. Okay, so there are such demands that have been going on. Then further moving on in this particular direction, coming to the world page, she meets Blinken as China US agree to stabilize the relation amid tensions. So guys, recently we have seen that the China US, they are trying to again normalize the relation. Okay, so this is something that is going on. Fine. Then 5 Palestinians killed in Israel's West Bank raid. Okay, coming to the business page, finance minister calls for effort to push farmers to cultivate millet. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Then guys, we have this sports page, and then mysteriously hidden after the sports page is this science page. Now this there is article is Betelgeuse finally beating the retreat in constellation Orion. We'll see this particular article in detail. And there is one more side article, groundwater extraction has affected the Earth's tilt, new study. Okay, no need to go too much in detail in this particular article, but I'll tell you what it is talking about. So basically guys, it has been said that now what we are doing, we are pumping a lot of groundwater for the consumption purposes. Okay, and that particular groundwater is being used, and what is happening, that groundwater after use, it is being discarded, and then it enters in our sewage, then it enters in rivers, those rivers then enter into the oceans. So basically we are extracting the groundwater, and that groundwater is being dumped into the ocean. Okay, it is ending up somewhere else, and because of this particular thing, Earth's tilt is getting disturbed. Now guys, understand this thing. For example, you have a globe here. Now when we talk about the globe, okay, in globe there is a fixed axis. Okay, fine. But when we talk about the earth, fine, so earth actually hobbles. Earth hobbles. So hurricanes, uh, big earthquakes, tsunamis, fine huge tsunamis, they disturb the earth's tilt. Okay, so even the groundwater that has been extracted, it has disturbed the earth's tilt by 80 centimeter. Okay, so this has been it has also been provided. Okay. So now let's discuss all these articles. So this is the end of the newspaper. Now let's discuss all these relevant articles one by one in the detail. Okay, guys, I hope that the sound is clearly audible and the video is also clearly visible. Now starting up, so guys, this is the synoptic notes that I was telling you that you can download from our Telegram channel. Okay, now we take the quotation in every class. So today we'll take the quotation from William Faulkner. So William Faulkner says, never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty and truth and compassion against injustices and lying and greed. If people all over the world would do this, it would change the earth. Okay. So the article is saying that in no capacity, fine, you should tolerate injustice, lying and greed. The voices should be raised against these things. Okay, and the voice of honesty, truth and compassion is needed against these injustices, lying and greed. And if all people will come together, if all people will do this, then the humanity, the earth, the world would be changed. We can use this particular quote with respect to GS paper number 4, ethics, integrity and aptitude. Now moving on to the first article for the today. Okay, is the Betelgeuse finally beating the retreat in constellation Orion? Now we'll see this particular article with respect to GS paper number 3, science and technology. Also we can use this for the prelims examination also. The questions from such kind of things can be asked. Now before going on in this particular article, let me explain you the context of this article so that you can understand that what we are going to discuss here. So guys, you might have observed the constellations in the sky. Fine, you might have observed some constellations of the stars in the sky. And Orion is the constellation which is most clearly visible all around the world. Now, there are many stars in the Orion. Okay, for example, Rigel. Rigel is one of the star which is the brightest one. Apart from this, Betelgeuse is also one of a star in this constellation Orion. And now the scientist has observed that mysteriously this star, that is Betelgeuse, it got dimmed. Now again it is brightening up, and many of the scientists are predicting, is it the end of this particular star? Is the star approaching its demise? Will a supernova will happen? All these things are there which have been discussed in this particular article. Now let's discuss this entire issue from the very start. So basically guys, what happened, okay, so basically what happened, since 2019-20, there is one phenomena that is being observed, and the phenomena is that there is this great dimming going on. What is this great dimming? Now understand this thing. Betelgeuse happens to be one of the brightest star in the Orion, second brightest star in the Orion. But recently it became dim, it became faint, and it became faint than the Bellatrix. Now the Bellatrix is the third brightest star of the Orion, so it became even dim than that. However, recently what has happened, again the Betelgeuse is becoming bright again. It is again becoming bright, okay, and now the suspicions are coming that this star is about to explode. The explosion of this particular star is imminent. Now guys, understand this particular thing. We will be seeing this particular picture here and we'll try to make sense as what the article is actually trying to say. So basically here you can see the life cycle of a star. So basically initially there is a giant nebula which has a lot of gases, lot of dust in it. Now that giant nebula either can turn in an average star or it can turn in a massive star. Okay, as we are talking about this Betelgeuse is a massive star. Its mass is 15 to 20 times more than the mass of our star. Okay, so it is a massive star. Now this particular star will grow for millions and millions of years at a constant pace. Its brightness will be But what will happen? Then it will turn into the red supergiant. Okay, red supergiant. This is the end of the this is the part of the old age of a star, and then there will be this supernova that will happen. What is supernova? Supernova is an explosion. Supernova is the explosion of the star, and then it is called as the death of the star, and then that star might turn in a black hole or might turn in a neutron star. Okay, so basically before the supernova, the explosion of the star, there is this red supergiant that happens. And right now when we talk about this Betelgeuse star that we are talking about, it is right now in this stage, that is in the red supergiant state. So basically now suddenly it got dimmed, then it got brightened up. Now these are the phases which actually happen around the supernova. The star becomes dim and then it brightens up, and then again eventually it dies. So is this star entered in this particular phase? These particular things, these particular speculations were coming out. Okay, so these speculations were coming out. So basically guys, actually when we talk about the stars, stars are by large remarkably stable. Okay, they shine with the same brightness year after year for millions of the years. But there are actually certain stars which are called as the variable stars. Variable star means that for some time they will become more bright, then they will be dim, again bright, dim, bright, dim. That will happen. And there is one of a star by the name of Mira, the star of wonder. Now the Mira, the star of the wonder, is a variable star. There are around 30 such variable stars that are visible from the naked eye, and this Betelgeuse is actually a variable star. It is actually a variable star, but it is a brightest, seventh brightest variable star in the sky. Okay, we are not counting the sun here. Okay, fine. So it is a variable star, so it means that it will get dim, then bright, dim, bright. It will happen. But actually, why there was a concern that came recently? The concern was because that it became 60% dim. It became 60% dim. Now this is extraordinary. This is not normal. And because of this 60% dimming that happened, it was observed that it might have undergone a supernova, and there will be a powerful explosion that will happen. Now guys, the supernova events are very rare, and in the last 1000 years, just very few times supernova has actually happened, and it was being waited by the scientific community that we will experience this supernova now. But now, as the researchers have been carried, it has been found that actually this particular star got dim because of a massive cloud cover. It got dim because of a cloud cover. So basically these huge stars such as the Betelgeuse, they continuously expel a lot of gas and dust. And actually what happened, a huge clump of gas, okay, it came in front of star, and it concealed the star. Because of that cloud that came, the star was not visible. Now what has happened, that dust has fizzled out, and now those dust particles are reflecting the brightness of that star even more. So therefore it has become even more bright right now. So these are the reasons that first it became dim and then it became even more bright. Now when we talk about this Betelgeuse, I have already told you that it is a massive star, 15 to 20 times more massive than the sun. And whenever the stars of this size, such massive stars, whenever they will end, there will be a super big explosion that will happen, and this explosion is called as the supernova. Okay, now when we talk about the supernova or that explosion, it happens in the case of the Betelgeuse, what will be impact on India? Now first of all, or the earth, sorry, first of all understand this thing, that this star is 500 million light years away. Okay, now 500 light years away, 500 light years away. So point is that, okay, even if it goes through the supernova, there will not be much impact that will happen on the earth. First of all, there will be the rain of the massless particles, that is neutrinos. Okay, so neutrinos are the massless particles. Even we are carrying the LIGO experiment, which is to detect the basically these neutrinos will rain will be there, which will be harmless for us. Okay, then what will happen after that particular thing? After this particular explosion, what will happen? For 1 or 2 weeks, this particular Betelgeuse star would shine with the same brightness as the full moon that we have. okay, and then eventually it will get fade up. It will be visible in the daytime for 6 to 12 months, and eventually then it will be it will be invisible, then it will not be visible, okay. So this is something that will happen. However, it will produce high energy particles such as the cosmic rays, but again it might not impact the earth that much. So, okay, now these cosmic rays actually are very powerful. They can pierce through the magnetic field, but again because of the distance it might not be impacting that much. So this is all the implications that would happen in the case of this particular supernova. It happened, but right now it is not happening, and some of the astronomers have predicted that it will not happen for 1.5 million years at least. Okay, for at least 1.5 million years it will not happen. Some estimates are more than that, some estimates are less than that, but fine, there is a foreseeable future when it will happen. So this is all about this particular article, and now moving to the next article. Archaeologists find Mesolithic era rock painting in Andhra's Guntur. Okay, archaeologists find Mesolithic era rock paintings in Andhra's Guntur. Now, what this particular article is talking, where this article will be actually important. We'll see this article with respect to the history, GS paper number 1, art and culture, GS paper number 1. So basically, first of all, guys, Mesolithic. So Mesolithic is the period between Paleolithic and Neolithic. Paleolithic, old stone age, when the tools of the tools that the people use, they were not very much refined, they were crude, they were big, okay. And then the Neolithic, the phase of the polished and more precise stone tools, and between this we have the Mesolithic age. Now in terms of the time frame, the scientists have different estimates, but it is estimated that 8000 BC to around 2700 BC was the Mesolithic age period. Now this is one estimate that has been given. There are other estimates also which vary, okay. So it might be the case that you have written in some book and this time frame is different. It can happen because the estimates are actually given. Now Mesolithic is the period when the hunters and gatherers were in the last of the phase. So we see that the early man was largely the hunters and gatherers, but slowly they will be settling up, they will be forming civilization, they will practice agriculture. Now the agriculture will largely be coming towards the start of the Neolithic, or some places at the end of the Mesolithic also. So basically what has happened, the archaeologists, they were carrying the excavations in the rock shelters, okay. So basically in Guntur district in Andhra Pradesh, there is a rock shelter, natural rock shelter, okay, on a hillock, on a hill, that is the Orvakal. Now here they have found out that there are certain paintings that have been found. And one of a painting is of a person tilling a piece of land. One painting is of a person tilling a piece of land. So what it shows? Number one, it shows the art of that period. Secondly, it shows that the agriculture, settled agriculture, has come in the Mesolithic age in the Andhra Pradesh around the Guntur. So this shows that in this particular time people were cultivating the crops. Now when we talk about this particular exploration, fine, now actually there are the five natural caves that are there, and there are two which have distinguished depictions. There are the paintings that have been found, and when we talk about the time frame of these paintings, so these paintings might have been made in around 5000 BC, okay. Now basically now this is something important. These paintings were made up of the natural pigments, obviously, because at that point of a time watercolors, oil colors were not there. So they have been made with pigments. So natural white kaolin has been used and the red ochre pigments have been used. Okay, now what are this red ochre? So basically guys, the ochre is a pigment color which is derived by clay, sound and ferric oxide. So basically guys, there are certain type of soils which have a lot of iron content in that, and because of that iron content they get a red color tint, okay. So that is the ochre. And then what is kaolinite? So kaolite is the soft, earthy and white mineral which is produced by the chemical withering of aluminum silicate. Okay, so when the withering of aluminum silicate happens, so it gives a white color substance, that is the kaolinite. Okay, so the kaolinite and ochre were used to make these paintings. Okay, so these paintings were of red and white color. Okay, so if you see here, in this particular painting, you can find that there are these white depictions that are more visible. Okay, now apart from that, there are the other paintings that have also been found. For example, the painting of a man catching wild goat with his left hand and wielding a hook like implement to control it. So by one hand catching the goat and in another hand a hook kind of equipment is there. And then there is also one more picture of a couple standing, the picture of two couple standing with their hands raised and a child is stood behind them. Okay, so these are the pictures that have been found from the Mesolithic period from the Guntur. So this is all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Safety first. India's regulators must ensure quality and the safety of drugs. We'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3, drug sector. Drug sector. Now, first of all, few of the background information you should understand, and then we'll go in this particular article. So basically, guys, when we talk about India, India is referred as the pharmacy to the world. We are one of the biggest generic drug manufacturers in the entire world. Okay, and we are further trying to scale that particular credential of India. But over and over again, what happened? Some of the drugs that are exported by India, they are found to be of substandard quality, they are found to be adulterated, and it leads to some adversarial issues in the other countries. And these cases bring a bad name to Indian pharmaceutical sector. Recently, what has happened, India has exported the drugs to Sri Lanka. These were the anesthetic medicines which were used on the people, and those people developed the adverse effects. Because of this particular thing, Indian pharmaceutical sector has come under the fire. And this is not one isolated event. Earlier also in Sri Lanka, earlier also what happened, there were the eye drops that were manufactured in India. They caused eye infection in at least 30 patients, and some of them also turned blind in Sri Lanka. So the anesthetic drugs, and now before that the eye drops, they have caused these kind of problems. Now, before this particular thing, guys, in the USA also the similar thing has happened. So the eye drops, they caused infections in USA, and the Atlanta based Center for Disease Control, they have also said that in the eye drops that were manufactured by India, there was a drug resistant bacteria that has been found. Okay, so this is the concern. Before that, guys, there were the cough syrups that were exported by India to Gambia, which led to the death of many children due to the kidney failure. So what happened? 70 children died in Gambia due to the acute kidney injury. Now, this also happened due to the Indian cough syrups that were exported and were consumed by the children there. And even the WHO, World Health Organization, has said that these deaths are linked to the consumption of the cough syrups that were exported by India. Now, first of all, let's understand that why these cough syrups. Okay, now one more issue is there, guys, that then also the death in Uzbekistan also happened around December 2022, again because of the consumption of the adulterated cough syrups. Now, the reason is that basically, guys, understand, in cough syrups there is a particular solvent that is used. Now, the solvent that is to be used in the cough syrups, it has to be propylene glycol. Propylene glycol should be used. But in place of propylene glycol, drug manufacturers, they used diethylene glycol. Also, they used ethylene glycol. Now, ethylene glycol and diethylene glycol is a cheap substitute for propylene glycol, but it is harmful, it is injurious to health, and it should never be found in any medicine. But still, the drug manufacturers are using them for saving some money. This is something that has happened. Now, when we talk about the diethylene glycol contamination, it has happened in India also, and in India also there are the incidents of poisoning in Chennai, Mumbai, Bihar, Gurugram, Jammu that have happened, okay, over a long period of time. Now, after this particular thing, it was expected that a zero tolerance approach would be used by the drug regulator, but will be used by the drug regulator. But what has happened, the drug regulator, rather than taking some serious action, has held that there is a vested agenda and has not taken much attention onto WHO's warning. Now, this particular whatever WHO said, this particular thing has also been testified by the Switzerland and Ghana. They have conserved, they have said that there were the toxic substance which have led to these particular deaths. But again, much stringent steps have not been taken up. So basically, I also put forward this particular point that if India wants to be the pharmacy of the world or pharmacy of the global south, pharmacy of the developing countries, then we need to ensure that the standards of the drug manufacturing, they need to not to be compromised. Okay. Fine. So this is to be ensured that the drug standard should not be compromised in any of the capacity. So this is all about this particular article, and now moving to the next article. A rising India involves dance steps with the US. We'll see this particular article with respect to GS paper number 2, India-US relations. Okay. Now, guys, we already have seen this particular thing that Prime Minister of India is scheduled to visit America. In US, he will be leading the celebrations in the United Nations over the World Yoga Day. Okay, and he will also be visiting the Egypt. But right now, India-US relations, we are talking in this particular article. Okay, now basically, when we talk about the India-US, the article says this thing that right now the time is perfect. Both the countries, that is the India and USA, they need each other. They need each other. First of all, we see this particular thing that there is the common interest between the India and USA that have converged. So because of the common interest, both of them need each other. Okay, a minute. Yes. So we find this particular thing that first of all, the USA, it needs Indian market and India needs American capital and American technology. We have crossed 8 billion population mark. Global population is more than 8 billion, and India's population is now more than the China. So we are the most populous country. We have the biggest market. America needs that particular market. Moreover, by 2030, India will have a working population of 1 billion, working population of 1 billion, which is actually more than the entire G8 population. Moreover, at the same time, guys, India also has a lot of low-hanging fruits. For example, we see that internet coverage in India is one of the highest. Per capita mobile data consumption in India is now ranked at number 1 in the world. We are consuming a lot of internet. Now, because of that particular thing, it is possible that you can reach to every person in India. Prosperity can be reached to every nook and corner. Digitization can reach to every nook and corner in India. At the same time, India has also taken up many of the ambitious reforms. Now, here a list of the ambitious reforms that have been taken by India has been given. Let's understand these reforms one by one. Now, first of all, when we talk about the India's infrastructure, sector, we see this particular thing, guys, that we are investing a lot in the infrastructure. It will be giving a lot of multiplier effect for the next 5 to 10 years. The effects will reverberate for the next 5 to 10 years. Understand this thing. We have taken the long-term projects. We have taken projects for highway, port development, waterway development, which will be completed over the span of 4, 5, 7 years. For this duration of time, it will generate to employment. That employment will further increase, when you are employing people, you give them salaries. People then spend that salaries. When they spend that salaries, they are increasing the aggregate demand in an economy. All these particular things will have a multiplier effect in economy. Secondly, on the governance front also, India is taking forward this Pragati initiative, which stands for proactive governance and timely implementation. Okay. Now, under proactive governance and timely implementation, okay, basically all the clearances, all the projects that are pending, their review is done. Their review is done on regular basis. Okay, monthly basis, the review is done. Okay, so wherever the governance is not proper, bottlenecks are there, they are resolved. After that, we also have this geospatial information system overlayer. Now, what it is? Basically, guys, see, when we are preparing a, let's say, highway project, obviously a lot of land is to be diverted, forests have to be cleared. So basically this geospatial information system overlayer, it is a very powerful tool which ensures that how optimally land could be used, how unnecessary trees will not be, how we can avoid clearing the trees, cutting the trees, okay, how the time can be saved. All these things are there. After that, guys, basically India has also come out with a very good reform for the financial transactions. Now, I'm not talking about peer to peer, that is people to people transactions, but the government to government financial transactions. Government has reformed the public financial management system. Public financial management system. Now, public financial management system, it is a centralized transaction system which will improve the transparency, accountability, and efficiency in government financial spending. So, government financial spending, the government transactions that are happening, fine, in them the accountability, transparency will be brought by this PFMS system. Moreover, this is also a system, by which the direct payments can be made to the beneficiaries. Government can make direct beneficiary payment to the beneficiaries. Government can make direct payment, central government, for example, to the state government, etc. Okay, fine. So this is something. Then after that, guys, the next important reform is actually on the transportation front. So basically, government has developed the Parivahan system. Now, Parivahan system is one-stop system for for transport departments. Fine. So we have 1400 transport offices span in different states, union territories. Now, guys, understand this thing. For example, I buy a car. Now I need to pay road tax, okay, on that particular car. I need to get that particular car registered at with my RTO. So the transport offices around the country, they are connected under the Parivahan system, and it is ensuring the leakage proof revenue collection through the registration of vehicles, Okay, then India also is a country which is receiving approximately $100 billion in remittances from the Indian people living outside, and India today has become one of the top recipient of the remittances. Okay. Now, today, further, the status of India has increased to such a level where we are not one in 195 countries. Rather, India stands equal to the G8, the 8 most influential industrialized nations. We stand together with them. Now, India, further it has been said, needs to give up its non-alignment hangs of the past. Okay. And now the time is that we should give up non-alignment and we have to take strategic autonomy, where we will choose sites on the basis of our convenience. Okay. This is something that is there. Okay. Now, further, India also needs to work on some other fronts as well. For example, we need to work on even more digitalization of the internal processes. Better service delivery should be given to the people by using India Stack. What is India Stack? India Stack is a collection of the digital technologies, digital processes that India had made. For example, in digital stack, CoWIN will come. In digital India Stack, UPI will come. Okay, Bharat Pay will come. All these things. So we need to bring such more. DigiLocker will come in Digital India Stack, in India Stack. So we need to bring more such applications. We need to bring more such systems by which we can improve the ease of living for Indians. Okay, this is something that has happened. Now we completing the 75 years of independence, and okay, here basically India can be a very important and meaningful partner to the USA. Okay, now moving to the next article. Refugee as assets to their new countries. We will see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 4, ethics. Okay. Now, basically, guys, why this particular article first of all has come? So today, that is the 20th of the June, is commemorated as the World Refugee Day. And June 20 is a day that is observed to remind the countries of their collective responsibility towards the people who are refugees, the people who are running from their states because their states have carried against them persecution, either on the political ground or on some socio-cultural ground. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about the refugee issues, there is the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, that is there. United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Now, it is a body at the United Nations who is responsible for the refugee issues. Moreover, there is also the United Nations Refugee Convention of 1951. However, India has not signed this United Nations Refugee Convention of 1951. Now, the article talks about this particular thing, that right now the global conflicts, for example, the war is going on in Ukraine, Myanmar, Sudan, okay, then there are the situations which are very much vulnerable in Afghanistan, Somalia. It has led to a new challenge where large number of people, they are facing the human right violation, they are facing persecutions, and they are running to the other countries. So refugee crisis has become very dire in the present times. When we talk about India, India is also home to 2,50,000 displaced people, women, children. India has actually graciously hosted and assisted the refugees asylum seeker. For example, guys, when the Kaptai Dam Kaptai Dam was constructed in Bangladesh around 1965-66, and when thousands and thousands of villages got submerged in Bangladesh, large number of Bangladeshi people, they came in India. Okay, Afghan refugees have come in India. With the Dalai Lama, Tibetan refugees have came in India, and we have graciously given the refuge to these people in India. Generously, we have hosted these refugees. Now, when we talk about the refugee, whenever they go in some other host country, they face a lot of obstacles, challenges. For example, they don't have any legal recognition. They face a lot of challenges in obtaining government issued documents. Now it hinders their access to basic services, for example, healthcare, education, sanitation. Okay, so basically the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and the United Nations aims to remove all these particular barriers that are there. Now, it has been provided that these people, they are forcefully, they have to abandon their homes. Okay, and there is this Global Compact on Refugee. There is also this Global Compact on Refugee, which acknowledges the magnitude of the displacement crisis, and it calls that the society needs to have more empathy towards refugee people. The states need to have an attitude of empathy towards the refugee people, and they should be given the due legal recognitions as well. So this is all about this particular article. Now moving to the next article. A summit with substance. A summit with substance. Now, this particular article, guys, is actually this particular article is actually talking about the new global financing pact. New global financing pact, which is being hosted by the President of France on June 22-23. Now, in this global financing pact, NGOs, civil societies, government dignitaries, they are participating. Now, this global financing pact is being signed to create a new financial system which will be alternative to the Bretton Woods system. Bretton Woods system. Right now, guys, we have, for example, IMF. IMF will be providing you financing only in the situation of balance of payment crisis. Okay, at the same time, World Bank, for example, World Bank, a different organization, but I am just giving you the example. For example, World Bank is there, which will be giving you the financing for other developmental reasons. But the point is that right now, a lot of finance is needed for the climate mitigation. But on that particular thing, the present organizations are not providing a lot of funding. So to provide that funding, this new global financing pact is trying to come out with a new system which provide the finances for climate change, biodiversity crisis, developmental challenges, etc. Now, as this particular summit is being hosted, this particular summit would focus on three components, that is the pact, platform, and political pathways. Okay, now what are these pact, platform, and political pathways? One by one, we will discuss that. Number one. This particular agreement or this particular meet is focusing to create a pact for global flows of finance that covers two levels. Now understand this particular thing. First of all, guys, understand this particular thing. We need to mobilize funding. We need to mobilize the domestic funding within the country so that the funding is available for green projects, funding is available for the climate sustainable projects, and then we need to mobilize the funding from the international front. So on the domestic front, they are saying this particular thing, that the countries, they need to they need to modernize and standardize their existing tax structures. They need to clamp down on illegal cross-border money movements. They need to empower their tax administration. Why? Because if you will be able to recorrect your tax systems, you will be able to collect more tax, and then that more tax can be invested into the into the green infrastructure, into the clean climate infrastructure. Moreover, also the fossil fuel subsidies that are being given, that are to be reduced, because by that also you will be able to save a lot of money, and that money can be mobilized for the climate infrastructure. Then at the international level, the finance is needed for the adaptation, loss and damage. Now understand this particular thing. There are some of the countries which will be far more impacted by the climate change, particularly the island nations. They will be far more impacted by the climate change. So for that, loss and damage fund is to be created, and here the money will come from the donor organization, countries, philanthropies, etc. So it has been said that empty pledges should not be made. Real money should be given for this particular thing. Then second is the global platform for de-risk finance, global platform to de-risk finance. Now understand this particular thing. Basically guys, most of the times the private investment into the climate infrastructure project is not coming, because it is seen that it is a very risky kind of investment. So basically we need to create a platform where the basically finance would be provided for the private investment would be mobilized through this particular platform for the renewable projects, for the clean technology projects, and all such kind of things. And then a political pathway. Now what is this political pathway? The countries need to come together, and they need to come together. They need to show a political will to help the countries which will be far more impacted by the climate change. For example guys, developed countries have promised that $100 billion will be given to the developing countries so that they can mitigate the impacts of climate change, and this money has to come by 2020, but up till now this money has not come. So the point is that political pathway will create these time-bound deliverables on climate finance. Okay. For example, let's say in the Conference of Parties 26, some promise has been given, and the date they have taken is that in 5 years we will implement this promise. So implement that, fulfill that, give a time-bound deliverable. This is a political pathway. So these are the things that are being taken up in this particular thing. That is all about it. And now moving to the next article. Okay, guys, you are not required to go too much in detail in this particular article, but this can be used as an example when we are talking about that how India is helping its extended neighbors, even how India is helping the developing countries, how India is a net security provider. Now what has happened recently, India has gifted the indigenously built INS Kirpan to the Vietnam. Wow, what is INS Kirpan? INS Kirpan is a missile corvette. Corvette means a small warship. It is a small warship that has been gifted by India to Vietnam. Now, in 2022, actually India and Vietnam signed the Memorandum of Understanding on Mutual Logistics Support, and as per this agreement, we give such kind of help to the Vietnam and many other countries also. Now, guys, if we talk about the India-Vietnam, so Vietnam till now have procured even 12 high-speed petrol boats also. Fine. For how they are procuring that money? Through the 100 million line of credit that was extended in 2014. So we are giving the line of credit, and that line of credit they are using to procure the weaponaries, all these things. Okay, so this is all about it. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Finance Minister calls for efforts to push farmers to cultivate millets. Okay. So guys, you already might be knowing this particular thing, that 2023 is being observed as the International Year of Millet. This proposal was endorsed by the Food and Agriculture Organization because India first put that. So on the behest of India, the 2023 is being observed as the International Year of Millet. And Finance Minister here has said this particular thing, that the NABARD, fine, that is the NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, should specifically focus that the farmers who are growing millets, or the farmers who are interested in growing millets, they are to be provided all the assistance that they need. So basically these millets, they are also being referred to as a Shri and Ann, and the growing of the millets is being also called as a national priority. So it has been said that the NABARD needs to encourage the farmers to enhance the area covered under the millets, protect these farmers, give them the need of if they need finance, if they need loan, ensure that they are getting them. Moreover, the finance minister has also stressed that the digital capabilities of the rural financial institutions such as the regional rural bank, it is need to be enhanced. They should be covered under the, they should be given the digital tools, digital technologies on immediate basis. So these are some of the statements, observations that have been made. Now guys, in these kind of articles, you are not required to go too much in detail, because these are just the statements, okay, proposals that are being kept forward. Now, coming to the main practice question for today. So, question reads, India and America need each other more than ever before today. United, powerful mutual interest. Explain with relevant examples. So, this will be a 10-marker question for GS paper number 2 IR. That is all guys for the today's session. And with this, we come to an end. I hope that you have liked the video. Thank you.